Hi, this is CB, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about templates and using them within Photoshop and Photoshop Elements. I have Photoshop CS2 that I'm going to use for this tutorial, but it's going to work pretty similarly in the other versions. I'll mention the difference. I have here a grayscale PSD template. You see it's a PSD file that I've resized to 72 pixels per inch for the tutorial to get files loading faster, but yours would be a much larger file size, usually 300 pixels per inch. So the first thing I want to do is get a background paper here to cover the background, and I'm going to do that by file browsing here, and I have one all ready to go. Wait for it to load. Now if my cursor disappears, it's the screencast software, it has a tendency to make the cursor disappear, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to hit this button in between the little minimize button and the X. It says restore down, and that gets both of my files showing in CS2 here at the same time. I'll drag and drop from the layers palette. If I hold down shift, it will drop it directly in the middle so it's perfectly centered basically. I don't need this paper file open anymore, so I'm going to close it. And this is toward the top of the layer stack right now. I need it to be covering up this big template piece. That's the big gray piece down here at the bottom in the background. So I'm going to just drag and drop it down to the bottom of the stack. And I'll get a photo open here, file open, and get my first picture of my daughter open. Same thing here. I'm going to have to get both files showing, and then I'll drag and drop over here and close up the photo file. Now I want this particular photo to be over the template piece that says lower right. In fact, the template piece, if you look at the layers palette, is right above it right now, so I need to drag and pull that up right above it. I'm going to create a clipping group. That's Control and G, or Control Alt and G if you're using CS2 or CS3. Or if you're using a Mac, it would be Command G or Command Option G, I believe, are the Mac equivalents. So now if you look at the workspace over here, I can see that my photo's only showing up in this piece of template. Of course, it's way too big right now. If I move it around, you can still see the photo, but we need it to fit in there better. So I'm going to shrink this down, and that means I'm going to go out to the corners here. I've already done it. Hang on, let me hit the check mark and show it again. The corners here, I've got a double-headed arrow that I don't know if you're going to be able to see or not, but hopefully you are. When I click there, now I'm in transform, and I have to hold down the shift key in CS2. Later versions of Elements will, I believe, do this without you needing to hold the shift key, but if I didn't do that, then my picture would maybe distort and skew. If you've ever seen a picture where it looks like the people are squished or too wide, that's because they're not holding the shift key down to keep the proportions of the photo correct. Now I've got that about where I want it in the template, so I'm going to hit the check mark. And I'm going to work a little bit faster now on these next few things so we can finish this up. I've got another picture to add. Pretty much all the same thing. I get both over and over again, but this just shows you how once you learn your program, you can work really fast with these templates and get a layout done super quick. I want this photo in the upper left piece of the template here, so drag this layer up to the one that's above upper left. Group it again with Control G, Control Alt G, Command G, blah blah blah, depending on which one you're using. Holding down shift, and I'm going to work pretty fast here just to get that in place. That's good. Check mark. Now I'm going to get a couple of more papers to use with this template here so that we can just sort of finish up the look a bit and you can see what we're doing. Close that up. I want this piece to be above the one that says upper right, and now I'll group that. And I'm even going to go ahead and shrink that one down just like I was doing with the photos to get the scale of that gingham down a little bit more. One more, oops, excuse me, I didn't hit the check mark. Okay, one more piece of paper here, that one. And just again so we can sort of finish the look here. Click that off. This one's going in lower left, so above the lower left piece. Group it, shrink. Oops, see there, I hit the wrong button. So hold shift and pull from the corner. It didn't do what I wanted. Check mark. There, now I would probably, just to sort of finish off so you can see how this is going, I would put a tag maybe on here, put it over there. I don't have to do any grouping with this, but I'd add a shadow, probably rotate it some, put a title on it, maybe a little bow, put some journaling over above the pink box, and then basically I would be done with my layout and have something very quick to work with. All my pictures were cut out nicely, and because they're fitting in these template pieces, I didn't have to round any corners or make sure everything fit, because the template did the work for me. So let me just show you one other thing that's pretty cool about templates. I'm going to go back to make this look exactly like it did at the beginning, and show you that now if I wanted to use this template again, I could get a whole another look out of it by just rotating it. If I go into Image, Rotate Canvas, now you'll notice that my name pieces are not going to coordinate with what I had, but other than that, you've got a whole other template, and you can, even flip things and just get a whole different look every time you want, just by messing around with the way the canvas here is oriented, and give you a whole nother template to use, basically, so you can get a lot of use out of your templates. I'm CB. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and thanks for watching.